Hey y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief. It is too cold out here, and it is upsetting me and my homegirl. Well, if we can't film in the parking lot, where the hell can we go?
Ooh, woo, girl, this is nice.
Hey, Chappelle girl. Now down to business. Last week's parking lot was spicy, and rightfully so, because the disempowerment we felt from all over last week is manifesting right now as we speak, with Negroes in the shade room comments talking about they finna vote for Trump. Lord of mercy. Leave us alone. Apparently, of all the things the U.S. Constitution requires of a person to run for president, a clean criminal record is not one of them. So even if he was convicted and in prison by 2024, he could still run for president. And what's scary is that him winning is an actual possibility, not just because of the Jim Bobs and the QAnons, but because of voter fatigue in black communities. Technically, voter fatigue occurs when voters stop caring because they have to vote too often. But in this case, voter fatigue looks like having to vote too often without getting results, getting amped up to make change, to stoke the fires of revolution, only to be let down or defeated.
Voter fatigue looks like surrendering.
Why? Because we are not getting any tangibles. The meat, the beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, put it on the table. We want to see it.
When we ask for tangibles, we mean things like reducing the student loan interest rate.
Election after election, black Americans specifically do not get to see tangible deliverables or outcomes that meet the needs of our communities, i.e. defunding the police, student loan debt cancellation for real, pardons for marijuana for real. Hell, can somebody even start the conversation about reparations?
Sis, talk to him.
And I hate to say it, and I hope I don't sound ridiculous, but that's how we get the Kyries of the world. Hold on now, stay with me. Earlier this month, Kyrie Irving faced high scrutiny for tweeting a link to a documentary on Amazon called Hebrew to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. His feet were held to the fire immediately as his actions were deemed anti-Semitic by members of the Jewish community. And what you may know is that in response, after failure to get in contact with Kyrie, the Brooklyn Nets required him to do a number of things, which he immediately gave pushback on, but resulted in him apologizing to the Jewish community, donating $500K to the Anti-Defamation League, and serving a 5-game suspension. Now, a lot of black Americans felt like this ordeal was a public lynching for Kyrie Irving. Louis Farrakhan even got on the mic saying all Kyrie was doing was searching for greater knowledge and being persecuted because he was at risk of enlightening other black men about where they come from. But what you might not know is that the movie in question asserts that the Holocaust was an exaggerated falsehood. That's weird. We have the documentation. We seen it. The movie also cites the work of Henry Ford, who was known to be one of the foremost contributors to anti-Semitic thought. And therein lies the problem.
Historically, black men have not felt seen, heard, or reflected in the tangibles.
There's that word again.
Displayed not only in political campaigns, but in actual policy once these politicians get into office. They are therefore disenfranchised and
end up getting attached to political ideals that meet their needs to feel represented, empowered, and protected. The Hebrew Israelite movement was sparked in the late 1800s by black Christians when slavery ended. The idea actually developed from the black Pentecostal church, where leaders claimed to receive a revelation that the emancipation from slavery was a mark of God's true chosen people. And it doesn't stop there. Scholars of Hebrew Israelism believe persecution of black Jews started during the transatlantic slave trade, when the Africans that did the kidnapping intentionally targeted tribes that were thought to be the lost tribes of Israel. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't never read nothing like that was credible, but I can tell you why it stuck. Hebrew Israelism was black nationalism before black nationalism existed. It gave black people a sense of self-determination and empowerment by pushing economic independence, salvation from American bondage, and it didn't take them too long to begin including that white people were inherently evil and hated by God in their messaging. They might have been onto something with the inherently evil part. All of them ain't been delivered from that just yet. This group laid the groundwork for other nationalist groups like the Nation of Islam and the Black Panthers. And I think we are failing to consider two things in this conversation. Number one, documentation of the history of the black diaspora is skim. Many black Americans go through extreme cognitive dissonance trying to develop identity in a place that hates them. And in searching for our roots and a deeper understanding of ourselves, sometimes it comes at the cost of credibility or viability when the facts can't be charted out. Number two, unfortunately, when black people adopt rhetoric to empower themselves, they often do it while invalidating the experiences of other oppressed groups.
that's the part I don't get.
Well, I do. That's what the white people taught us. Come on now, DEFCON 3 on Jewish people? We don't have to live like that. This week, Dave Chappelle is facing scrutiny for an SNL sketch making light of how the conversations around anti-Semitism may affect other people, but in the process still offended the Jewish community.
There should absolutely be room for critical conversations surrounding these topics, but
it looks like we're gonna have to find a way to do it where Jewish Americans and black Americans can hold each other's sensitivities in the same regard. That's the only way we're gonna have productive conversation.
yeah, Lene, this is cute and all, but it's looking like you need a parking lot set so we can do this in the rain, hail, or shine.
That's all I'm saying.